Alright, hello. I want to walk you guys through what I would do to edit a recipe that was submitted to us by one of our guest designers. In this case, this recipe was given to us by Katie Hope. She works with us a lot, so she actually used our template. So on some levels, this is significantly better than what we would normally get from our guest designers. So, looking at this recipe, the information is all here, and a lot of it is actually not bad. So what I would do first is just go ahead and duplicate this page. That way I'm not going to lose anything when I start working on it. All of our recipes should have a materials list in this section right here. The expected time, for some reason Katie had moved up here. We always have this down here, and it ends up going on every page. We always have the title and then the person who did it, their information here, and what kind of thing it is. So this is a sculpture. It could be a column or an arch or ceiling decor or whatever, by the name of the designer. We put their logo up here, and then our logo actually needs to be, we have the wrong logo in our thing, so it needs to be this one that has the white border inside of it instead of the clear one. So on our template that we're going to give you guys to use, the template we're going to give you to use will have the white border, so you shouldn't have to worry about replacing that. It should have placeholders for this information as well. What I do is the materials I usually do last after I do everything else, because I'll write out all the steps, and then I will go through and I will look at the materials list itself, or I'll create the materials list going step by step, taking down notes. So since I did just change that, I'm going to delete this copy that I made, and then I'm going to make a copy of this. Now, here's the thing that I notice. This is a one-page recipe, and while somebody can read all this information, and I would like to think should be able to follow the details, to me, it's kind of all jammed together, a little bit harder to read than it would be if it was formatted better. So, even in this one-page recipe, this could be better. What I would do is probably move this over, and I'm going to consider for this step 2, I want a little more details. So we'll just start at step 1, inflation sizes. I would add a little more information here. Inflate 12-inch linking balloons and tie end to end to form the following. Right? That way it's a little bit more detailed what you're actually having somebody do here. And then I think it's easier to read if there is something like this, that kind of like this dot that kind of separates lines of information. To me, it's just a little bit easier to read. So you can either use the asterisk, like this symbol right here, and then hit enter and it will create it, or if you've already done one, when you finish that line you can hit the enter button and it will create the next one in order. So to me, already, that just looks better. And then the other thing that you can do is, in this case, she did give us these items here to work with. So I'm going to what I think I want to do is give them a little more space between them. And then I will put an extra little note down here that basically special. The pictures below show the difference between a ring and a chain. All right, again, this is information that should be self-explanatory, but I want to make sure that the people looking at these recipes don't have any reason to say, I don't understand what this line meant. Because then we have to go and we kind of have to redo the whole dang thing so that it's easier to understand. I don't want to do that. Now, the second step here, it says take your clear bottom ring and attach one chain per knot using the bottom gold empty end. Like, if that's something that is easy to understand, then I would leave it alone. But to me, that's a little confusing. Again, I know what she's saying. I just think there could be a better way to say it. Take your clear bottom ring and attach one chain per, she says not. I like connection points per connection points on the linking balloons using the bottom gold empty end. And we're looking at chains of gold, 6 chains of gold, 4 gold, 1 white. So even this right here, I kind of think even this, the colors that are selected here could be confusing. So I might even write this. The pictures below are examples of rings and chains, of a ring and a chain. Okay, I just don't want it to be confused where people are just going to make chains that are all gold or whatever, right? Because in this case, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 gold and 1 white. So take your clear bottom ring and attach one chain per connection point on the linking balloons using the bottom, I would say using the gold end of the chain. Using the last gold balloon of each chain. So when we do a detailed instruction, each one of these rings is going to have its own step. Like, she has it in one step. To me, I want pictures for each of these rings. It'll make it a lot easier for somebody to follow. But for a one-page recipe, we can leave it like that. In this case, I think this would be really good to have a picture of. That would be a lot easier for people to follow. So take your clear bottom ring and attach one chain per connection point on the linking balloons using the last gold balloon of each chain. Now, even though this is for her all the same step, again, I feel like it's going to be a lot easier to follow if each of these is broken out a little bit. Add the next ring, which is so they're all the same size, so I don't think we need to say add the next ring. Add a gold ring by taking each chain, moving up one link, and wrapping the link chains around the rings, knots around the rings. Wrapping the link chains connection point around the rings connection points. Again, maybe we could illustrate that in a way that makes sense. That will be something we have to figure out. Okay, now another one. Make sure to always use the next chain in the order of the last one to make sure no knots get left out. just for continuity, no. So again, like just the words on this are potentially confusing. If you know what's happening, then you're going to be able to follow this. But when we write this in details, we're going to probably clean up how this is all communicated. Make sure to use the next chain in the order of the last one to make sure no connection points. So let's rewrite that right now, because that, I know what she's trying to say, but I just don't understand. Be mindful to not accidentally skip a balloon on the chain and keep the order in line when adding rings. I think that's what she's trying to say. Just be careful not to skip stuff. Continue adding rings until you get to the white ring. Continue adding. All right, so add all the gold rings. Continue adding gold rings until you get to the white ring and tie. All right, continue adding gold rings. Then add the white ring and tie each end of the chain to the white chain's final link. Add each end of the chain to the white ring's connection points, because that's what she's effectively doing. Connection points. Okay, and then we have another. Attach the final clear chain within one knot of the knots that make the most sense to where they would be on a normal beer mug by tying in, usually one row from the top and bottom. Attach the final clear chain. Okay, so there's only, that is the second clear chain. Attach the final clear chain, then one of the, again, since we used the word connection points, we're going to use that again on the rings that make the most sense to where the hand, I would want to make sure people know this is what this is. The handle would be on a normal beer mug by tying in. Okay. So this you can see, while I didn't edit it greatly, it's just easier to follow at this point, because the information is broken up in a way that makes it a little easier to separate effectively one step from the other. Because to me, this is one, but this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, I believe. This one should be also 5 steps. But for a one-page deal, this would be good enough, good to go. And then again, what I would do is I go 1 ring of clear, 1 ring, 6 clear, and I write this way different as well. So what are we working with? All 6-inch linking balloons. So 1 ring of clear, 6 balloons. I would probably do this. 1 ring equals, I like to put the number 6-inch clear at 5 inches. So this is the quantity of balloons. This is the size of the balloon. This is what it's inflated to. 4 rings of gold. And we're doing 4 rings of 6-inch gold at 5 inches. 1 ring of 6-inch white at 5 inches. 4 chains. So see, in this case, she did put the number before it. 4 gold Whoa, not sure what happened there. 1 white, 4 6-inch gold, 1 6-inch white at 2.5 inches, 5 chains of 5 6-inch clear at 5 inches. Okay, so now if I'm creating the materials list and it wasn't given to me already, I would put a little notepad on the side, 1 ring of clear 6-inch balloons, and there's 6. So I would write down 6 6-inch clear, 4 rings of 6 6-inch gold, so that's 24 gold 6-inch linking balloons. Write that down. And now we have 6 white 6-inch linking balloons. Write that down. So far we have 6, 24, and 6. Now we're going to look at chains. 6 chains of gold that are 4. So 6 times 4 is 24, plus the 24 from here, that's 48. And we already know there's no more gold, so 48 6-inch gold linking balloons. I would write that down, put it up here. 1 white, and we're doing 6 chains, so that's 6 white, plus we have 6 more white here, that would be 12. I would write that down right there. And then 1 chain of 5 clear 6-inch, and you add that 6-inch to, or that 5 to the 6 that we had above would make 11. So write that down. Miscellaneous, I always like these to be made in bold as well, but the miscellaneous is where you would add things that don't have to happen. Maybe they're not even on the picture, but you could put them on if you wanted. And that's where she puts 5-inch white rounds to add foam in an organic style or whatever, right? And then I would potentially separate this out and have glue dots as another option, another miscellaneous item, so that it's separate. So I'm going to do this. Add it on an organic style, and I'm going to put glue dots to add white 5-inch. That way we can tell it's 2 different things. Okay, this would be how I would make one of her, a 1-page concise recipe. Now, I will do another video on how to take this recipe and turn it into a more detailed recipe.